नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्त्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Now, we are in the middle of a important verse that sums up this whole section. And what is this section? The difference between the wise and, as Swamiji used to say, the other wise, other than the wise. What is the difference? And the difference here is described as night, between night and day. And it's what is a time of non-action, non-interest, non-activity to the wise person is the reality in which the unwise person is totally mired. And what is reality to the unwise person? A world of divisions, a world of transaction, a world of activity, not useful activity, frenetic activity. that day is as good as the night to the person of knowledge. Cryptic verse, but very important. And we were in the middle of the commentary. So let us continue with that and then let's see what comes up. Hold on, I lost the commentary somewhere. Yes, here it is. Now, we saw the first part. And what was the first part? The first part said, Ajnana sarvabhutanam nisha iva nisha paramartha tattvam agocharatvat atad buddhinam. So here we have to look at a couple of words. Paramartha tattvam we have to see, and then atad buddhi, what that is, we have to see. So Paramartha Tattvam, and sometimes the bhashya translation itself is problematic. It is translated as what? As the supreme reality. Supreme is a word that is best used for gasoline, types of gasoline, supreme unleaded. Okay, here it does not add in any way to our understanding of what is going on, not in the slightest bit. Supreme means what? It's a word that it's the word that makes things more obscure than clear. So we avoid terms like bliss, supreme, and things like that, and stick to the words that we know. Paramartha, artha, goal here. The meaning of the word artha is goal. Let's just go with the Sanskrit, and then it's much more clearer. Parama, the ultimate. So what is the ultimate goal? Oneness. And how does this oneness express itself? In terms of one's reality, the oneness expresses itself by by two things. One is aham idam sarvam. By the understanding, I am non-separate from all that I see. I am all this. All this is but an extension of me. All this constitutes Jagat. So the entire Jagat is myself alone. There is nothing else. And whatever I see is not other than me. This is one part of this Paramartha Tattvam, one articulation of it. And then the other one, the other side of it is knowing that there are a vision of division is not the reality. Even though divisions may appear, these divisions are what we call and what we have studied mithya. Mithya doesn't mean false. Mithya means part of the dependent or the projected reality. And the projected reality is what? It is an as though reality. And so this is what is called mithya. It's a dependent reality. Dependent on what? Myself, Sat, Ishvara. And that Ishvara is me only. And so that is Paramartha Tattva. And how does this Paramartha Tattva, how to understand this? This is of course done with the pursuit of Vedanta, keeping that forefront and then pursuing it for a length of time until one has this vision uh, intact. Until one has this vision, one pursues this until the vision is not disturbed by the quote unquote day-to-day travails and day-to-day problems, etc. In fact, all problems are what? They are just a manifestation of whatever is happening karmically and in the world, etc. It doesn't touch me because I am free. That is the vision. Then how to assimilate this vision? What is the most important way to bring the vision home to oneself, to bring the vision home, to clinch that vision? And what is told many times, and we have discussed this in other occasions, the differences between I, the knower, and an object like pen, glasses, computer, whatever it is. The difference between me and any object that I perceive is an as though difference. In every body's life, there are three kinds of differences that touch the heart every single day. And that is what is intimately experienced, and that is what is rehearsed. These divisions are believed in, these divisions are constantly rehearsed. And that is what is to be that division, that vision of division has to undergo a transformation. I am the subject, I interact with the object. One subject, me, many objects. And what is the connection between me and the objects? I am real, these objects are also real, other people are also there, and the problems are real, the difficulties are real, the tears are real. Remember, we reserve the word real to define that which does not change in time. Trikalepi tishtati. One definition. And real is that which cannot be negated. So this definition, taking this definition seriously, that which can never ever be negated and that which is unchanging and free of time. Time has no problem with this at all. So this is what is called real. And so the real here is the is mm, when we take these two definitions seriously, the concept of real has to change, totally change. Because usually what happens, real means it is available for objectification. That is not what the Shastra's definition, that body of knowledge which is giving this understanding that one is free, that's not the Shastra's definition of real at all. So if I want the Shastra's definition, if I want the teachings, then I have to take the understanding of real to mean what the Shastra says. And the Shastra says that there should be no difference between myself and the object. There is no difference, because that which is real is one alone. Ekam sat, abadhitam, non-negatable. One sat, non-negatable, and you can't argue with it. Non-negatable, because this is in line with the human seeking. Ekam sat, non-negatable, abadhitam, advitiyam sat, non-dual, non-negatable, non-dual, and anantam sat, unending. That existence has to rest in a conscious being. That existence has to rest in a conscious being, because of what use is this kind of an existence that is not cognized? Even a rock is Sat. Even a rock is Sat. Rock is also Sat. Anything insentient is also Sat. What is the use? Only the human being can say, hey, I rock. The rock cannot say, I rock. So the cognition of this is what is the difference between you and the rock. That is in that cognition is the difference between samsara and moksha. In that cognition alone is the difference between freedom and the feeling or the notion of bondage. So this bondage is notional. That itself is a wonderful thing, starting point. So the bondage is notional. And that, why is it notional? Because the notion is based on the division, on the notion that everything is separate from me. That is what causes sorrow. Separation causes anxiety, starting at 2 years old, always looking for mummy. Where is mummy? Catching hold of the dress of the mummy. That is what the child does. 1 minute also cannot be separated from the caregivers. And so that anxiety continues, because one senses wrongly that one is separate from this whole Jagat and all the other people, including the source of the Jagat, that consciousness itself. And so here, that the steps, this is what one inherits as a prasada, as an offering of Atma Ajnanam, self-ignorance. This self-ignorance, the steps have to be reversed. You have to come back home in a way. So how to come back home? Coming back, this homecoming is what is celebrated here. Homecoming sometimes is not easy, because you have to leave behind notions of the familiar. Oh, but the world looks different. Let it look different. How it looks is not an issue. Because, all that glitters is not gold. We already know. How it looks is not, it looks can be very deceiving. So, the readiness to enter into, or even entertain the possibility of another reality, is what is the invitation here given by describing the Jnani's reality as and the Ajnani's reality as different as the night and the day. So what is the difference? The difference is simply this. For the jnani, every object that one encounters, there is a threefold difference. Myself, subject, object, any object, and then the relationship between the subject and the object that is mediated by what is called a means of knowing. So there is I, pramata, knower, and there is the object of knowing, which is prameya. And then there is the means of knowledge called pramana. How do I connect with this object? I connect with this object through eyes, sight. I connect with the object through other sense organs. Pratyaksha pramanani. That's the 5 sense organs. They are called the direct means of perception, upon which all the other pramanas are based. So and then, or I don't see it at all, but I infer something. And then, you see that you see like the Ganga water is very muddy today. And so why is it muddy? It must have rained up in the mountains. That's when initially all the mud, the surface mud, she has carried all the way here. And did I go up the mountains and see? Did I go to Rudraprayag and see the rain? No. But I know it must have rained because the water is muddy. It's carrying the silt from the mountains. So this is inference. And so these are the means of knowledge available to us. One step inference, many step inference, and then what else? The comparison and the cognition of absence, all these things. So I deploy these means of knowledge in order to know the objects, and I interact with the objects. And for the ajnani, this alone is the reality. This triputi, this tripod of divisions between the knower, known, and between how the knower comes to know what is to be known. And as long as I can prove that it's a valid means of knowledge, I inferred it, I did this, this is how I know all these things, then it's not a problem at all. This is how I know, this is what I did, this is how I came to understand. So this is the reality in which most people live. So this is not, we are not saying this is not a reality. This is a reality, all right, a reality. It is the empirical reality. This is where everybody, all the people live. And then this is the cause of consternation, this is the cause of samsara, affliction, this is the cause of sorrow. Why should it be the cause of sorrow? Because all the divisions are taken as real. Every single division matters. Oh, if I do this, that person will get offended. So my action is offending somebody, and their action is offending me. And all this is based on thinking that the primary division between the subject, me, myself, and the object which I am interacting with, the subject, object, and the means of knowledge are different. This whole premise is based on this duality between subject, object, and means of knowledge, and what connects the subject to the object. This is what is the problem. We are not denying the reality of this, but we are saying that if you are prepared, there is another reality to repair to, beyond which there is nothing else. This is what is called Paramartha Tattva. It is the all-pervasive reality which is not opposed to this reality in a sense of being, because it even supports this reality of duality. But the empirical reality of duality is not the end of the vision, because it is a vision of division, because I do not want it. So these two realities, the empirical and or the relative and the absolute, Paramartha Tattva, they have a very strange relationship to one another. Are they connected to one another? Yes and no. As though, we have to say as though, everywhere we have to put the word as though. The empirical reality is lit up by the absolute. The empirical reality comes to light because of that absolute Satyam Jnanam Anantam, or Sat Chit Ananda. That reality which rests in a conscious being who is non-separate from myself and whose nature never begins, never comes to an end, simply is. And what does this Sat do? This Sat Chit Ananda, this Satyam Jnanam Anantam, just shines the light. That's all it is. It illumines. It brings to light. It brings to light the other reality, the empirical reality, because the empirical reality depends on the absolute. If there is no Sat, there cannot be divisions. In fact, this is where one gets caught. That duality depends for its existence on non-duality. This is again one of the other paradoxes in Vedanta Shastra, in the teachings of Vedanta. Reality depends on the non-dual reality is what projects, as it were, this vision of division, which is what we call the empirical reality. So the empirical reality, mithya, is non-separate from the absolute, but the absolute reality has nothing to do with the empirical reality. That is what is the purport of this verse. So the second word here, atat buddhayaha. Tat, tasmin brahmani, in that Brahman, in that reality, that absolute reality has a word to indicate, to denote that. Brahman. So in that reality, where one knows that the object subject difference is as though the object is non-separate from the subject, and the means of knowing is also non-separate. Pramata, Prameya, Pramana is just a projection of three. They have the ability to, to make if you know this, they have the ability to make the world much more interesting, much more fun. It is fun only when you know what. It is fun when you know all this is as though subject, as though object, as though, and then because of this as though, one is able to lead the life without believing in, or becoming obsessed by, or becoming pained by this reality of the empirical reality of duality. In fact, even the people who live in this kind of a divided reality, which is most of the people in the world, they too crave for oneness. That's why people like to go in nature, because there is oneness. One can feel unconditional love from the trees and the mountains and the water. One can feel that, oh, these are things that are accepting me, no problem at all. These are things that I absolutely can love, because they are not judging me. They seem to be validating me. And it's nice to get a break from the series of complaints from other people and from oneself, I don't like this, I find this problematic, this is not okay, that is not okay, this is all, this is a problem, that is a problem. All this. One needs a break. And it's nice to get a break from that. But here, it's a permanent break. We are AKE. We put a break on this division. Because the division is not the ultimate truth. The division is a projection of this ultimate truth, as though, like even a play of light. Sometimes you have this, you shine a mirror on the wall. When you shine a mirror on the wall, the orb of the mirror is projected on the wall, and it dances in comparison to, keeping in view the motions of the hand. You go like this, that also undulates. You go this way, that way. What? The orb of the mirror. The orb of the mirror? The mirror is just shining the borrowed light from the sun, because you can't do this at night. Even if you manage to do it at night, then it'll be the moonlight. But you can't do this at night generally. It is during the day you can do this. So even though you say, oh, the light of the mirror, it's not really the light of the mirror, is it? Yes, conditionally speaking, it is the light of the mirror. But there is a different light here, which lights up the mirror and which also lights up the wall. What is that? Sun. This is exactly. So the mirror dancing on the wall is the relative reality of divisions. I am separate, the subject is separate, the object is separate, and everything like that. And the wall is the object, I am the subject. All these things you can say. Wall is the subject, I am the object, and then so you can do all these shenanigans. And then my eyes are seeing this difference, and of course it is difference. The mirror is playing, oh, look at this lovely dance. And then you can even set the dance of the mirror to a wonderful tune, a wonderful musical tune. It can do a little Bollywood dance and the mirror orb, or it can do a wonderful classical Bharatnatyam move. You can calibrate the movement. And then what? The reality is that both the wall and the mirror are lit by something that is neither the wall nor the mirror. It is lit by the sun. And here the sun is that Paramartha Tattva, that conscious being which is myself. That conscious being is shedding the light on the Pramata knower and shedding the light on the known. I am that light. I am that light that even supports these divisions. Supports, as though these divisions, projects these divisions. These divisions, as it were, arise from me, like even the division between the wall and the dancing orb of the mirror arises, as though division arises from the sunlight itself. Similarly, all these divisions arise, as it were, in me. They are sustained by me, and back to me they go. This is the reality. This is exactly the reality. And then to this reality, the Jnani is awake. This is what is called Atad Buddhi. And later on in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna will also use the word Tad Buddhi. Tad Buddhi means the one who has this Buddhi firmly fixed in Tasmin Brahmani Lina Buddhihi Yasya. So, the one for whom this reality is fixed, that it is this sun-like consciousness that's illumining all the divisions, and the truth is divisionless. There are not three sources of light between Pramana, Prameya, Pramata. It's all one. It's all one consciousness that is as though morphing to support the status, the role of the knower, and it is as though morphing in order to look like it is the object, the known, and it is as though morphing to be the connecting bridge between the two in the form of a means of knowledge, pramana. But it is what is this? It is the light that supports all this. And it as though morphs. How does it morph? It's not morphing in time. In fact, there is no time here. It's all happening simultaneously because that consciousness, that sunlight is all pervasive. The sunlight doesn't have to say, now I'm going to shine the wall. Okay, see the wall. All right, yeah. Now I'm going to shine the orb of the mirror. See the mirror. And now I'm going to make the mirror dance. No, it's all happening effortlessly, and it's all happening without it being an action. The only action is your hand moving to the music to make the mirror orb dance on the wall. But really, what lights up the wall? That one non-divisible sun. What lights up the mirror? The one non-divisible sun. What lights up the seer? Your eyes. The one non-divisible sun. So you can enjoy this show of mirrors. In fact, you can even put two mirrors, one in each hand, and shake them and then make them come together, two people coming together, friends, and then they go apart because somehow they fell out or they went their separate ways. All this is happening as though. This is what we mean by as though. So tat buddhihi means tasmin brahmani lina buddhihi yasya. In that Brahman alone, one's buddhi, one's faculty of knowing is committed to that. To that reality one is committed. That one is called tad buddhi. Here it is atad buddhi, the opposite of that. So the one whose buddhi is mired in the division, and the more one is mired in this vision of division, then the more there is suffering. How can there be suffering? Because there is a longing for that orb. Let's say the person who is doing this dance of the mirror is not seen. You just see the mirrors. The person is somewhere in the back doing this projection far away. And then there is a longing for this shiny orb. I would like that. And then one goes try to catch it. You know, it's like the cat with that laser beam of light. That is, you know, one red light is shine with a little pointed laser beam. And the cat is driven crazy. First it's on the wall, it tries to leap and jump and catch it, and then it's on the floor. Oh no, it's on the chair. Now it's on the sofa. Now it's on the table. And so it's a you know, it may be entertaining for the person, but it's most frustrating for the cat that it seems like this, but I'm not able to catch it. But you, who is the wielder of this laser pen, for you it is entertaining. Similarly, for the person of knowledge who knows that this is all a show, it's a show of, it's a performance, it's a show, then one is, one is delighted. But if you become part of the show, if you think the show is real, then there is sorrow, there is frustration, there are dead ends, there is exhaustion, there is fear, there is all kinds of difficulties. And this is exactly what is pointed out. Let us go back to the bhashya for a bit and continue looking at this. Let's see. So, yeah, atad buddhayah, he uses paramartha. Why are they atad buddhinam? Why are they atad buddhayah? Because paramartha tattvam, this reality is, which we just spent some time describing, agocharatvat, because it is not, it is not understood for the people whose minds are not committed to that reality. If you are committed to that reality, it is understood. It is understood by instruction. It is understood by making one's life such that you are willing to entertain this vision. So for the others, This reality is described as dark as the night, because it is not visible, because one is not interested in it. So then, further he continues, bhashya, तस्यां परमार्थतत्त्वलक्षणायाम् अज्ञाननिद्रायाः प्रबुद्धः जागर्ति संयमी संयमवान् जितेन्द्रियः योगी इत्यर्थः. तस्याम्, in that reality, in that only reality, paramartha tattva lakshanayam, in that reality characterized by the understanding of that tattva, that consciousness which is ultimate and which is of the nature of light, which is of the nature of knowledge, and which does not separate, which is not separate, which is never separate, as the different as the knower and the known, into which all divisions um, resolve, and which projects these as though divisions. In that reality, the one who is prabuddha, the one who is prabuddha will take this thing, will take later. There is one person who is awake, jagarti. Into this reality, one is awake, jagarti. Who is that? Samyami, Sanyamavan, Jitendriya, the one who has Jita, conquered. Jitani Indriyani Yaihi, or Yena, because one person is being described. So Jitani Indriyani Yena, by whom these Indriyas have been conquered. Indriyas means the proclivity of the sense organs to keep mired in the division between them and the sense objects. So that proclivity has been conquered by gaining some dispassion towards the things in the world. They are not moved by shiny objects. Such people, they are not moved by shiny objects. Why? Because yogi ityarthaha. They are contemplatives. They are yogis. They have done a lot of karma yoga, and they are resolved because they have conquered all kinds of binding desires, and they are available to probe into this reality. And so jagarti, they are awake. Why? He gives a very wonderful reason. What is that? Ajnana nidrayaha prabuddha. They have awakened from the sleep of, from the unconscious, what is that? Unconscious reproduction of this relative reality. They are awakened from the sleep of ignorance. Prabuddha, awake. So this is the thing, this is the difference between this kind of a jnani and everybody else. Because as long as people do not acquire self-knowledge through Guru, through study of Gita, etc., all these glittering orbs of the universe will continue to attract, will continue to distract. And that is what is called moha nidra, a deluded sleep, a deluded slumber, a slumber of delusions. And so the ajnani, a person of self-knowledge, has risen from this slumber of delusion. Because that is the goal of human life, is to wake up. And then what will the Jnani do? The Jnani will see this frenetic pursuit of all the people, and for acquiring something or the other, or getting rid of something or the other, because that is what is the pursuit. But the Jnani is not being interested in that, is asleep to those pursuits. He or she may see the people, going about their lives, going about their days, trying to catch that laser beam. which is that cat toy. And so trying to catch that laser beam, he may be seeing them, or she may be seeing them do all these frenetic activity, but that's not a game that he or she is interested in. So it's bored, falls asleep, because the person is awakened, as it were, to the reality of oneself as free of these pursuits and free of that which causes these pursuits to be there, namely free of all kinds of wants. And so therefore, unto that reality the person is awake. And so for this, so then further Bhashyakara says, Yasyam, by contrast, Yasyam, in which reality, Yasyam, we have to supply in which reality, because he just says in which. Grahya grahaka grahya grahaka bheda lakshanayam nidrayam avidya nishayam. He does specify. Yasyam avidya nishayam. This is how we have to see, because these two are these two are directly connected with one another. Yasyam, in which, avidya nishayam, in which reality, which is what? In which night, which is the night of self-ignorance. In that night of self-ignorance, which is characterized by lakshanayam, which is lakshanayam means characterized by what? Graha grahaka bheda. Bheda, division between grahya and grahaka. Grahya, that is which to be pursued, which is to be caught. The laser beam or the glittering orb. Oh my God, it's going. It may be real gold. I have to catch it, I have to catch it, I have to hold on to it. Frenetic, frenzied. And who am I? I am a grahaka. I am the catcher. I have to catch, conquer, kill this. And then all the other people are in competition. There are only a few of these glittering orbs, and many, many people going and hitting their heads against the wall trying to catch this orb. And then what? No, nothing happened, just a little bleeding. Go to the clinic, get a band-aid, and come back and then catch the glittering orb. This is in fact the subject matter of the 8th chapter of the Panchadashi. This is how the Panchadashi 8th chapter opens, with this wonderful image of the wall, the mirror, orb, the sun, and the seer of all this. And so this is how that 8th chapter opens. It's beautiful. And so the one who is caught up in this game show, and that is the one that is asleep. See, if you are asleep, really speaking, it is not a problem. If you are asleep to everything. But asleep means here the person is half asleep, as though in a dream. So here when it says asleep, we have to take it as though the ajnanis, the people who don't have this understanding, are in a kind of a dream state. Because in the dream, the divisions appear real. In the dream, you pursue all kinds of things. In the dream, you have all these wants, aspirations, dreams. Nothing wrong, but the only wrong thing is to think that that is the ultimate. And so, when in the dream one is pursuing things as though it is real, that is the idea. One is walking, one is talking, and one is not available for being woken up, because one is totally into the dream. You call out the person's name, the person doesn't even hear, because the person is inside a fabulous dream filled with divisions. And then what? Inevitably, those things that one wanted go away. They go away. Where? In the dream, of course. And then one has one more dream. So it's a endless dream kind of a thing, into which that dream becomes the reality for people, and into which this ajnani is awake. And that reality, the non-ultimate, or or the reality which is what? Which is the empirical reality here, is talked about as characterized by grahya grahaka bheda lakshana. So the lakshana characterized by, indicated by the subject object difference, and the pursuer pursued difference, the catcher caught difference. The catcher is always after that light. I want that light, I want that light, without understanding that I myself am the source of this light. That is the idea. So prasuptani, prakarshena suptani, they are all sleeping. Who are they? They are these bhutani, these people. And where are they sleeping in? They are asleep in the night. They have made themselves a bed of avidya, and the night is the covering, the night is the comforter, and the bed is avidya, and the bedposts and everything is the difference between the seer seen, sight, knower known, knowledge, catcher caught, and the means of catching all these things. So bhutani, prasuptani eva bhutani. So these people are, this to that to which is jnani for them is the place of activity for such people. So avidya nishayam. So they are sleeping in the lap of avidya. Avidya means self-ignorance. Those who are sleeping in the lap of avidya, prasuptani eva bhutani, and so, but they are awake to this reality of the catcher and the caught. The jnani is asleep to the catcher caught reality, but those who are sleeping to this reality, they are sleeping in the lap of avidya, and they are very much awake and available to play. Jagrati, these beings are awake. See, Jagru is second conjugation, it behaves very funny. So it'll in all the second conjugation verbs, the singular sounds like plural. So Jagrati, we think it is singular, but actually it is plural. Jagarti is singular. Okay. So that earlier it was Yasyam Jagarti Sanyami, one person. Here Jagrati Bhutani. All the beings are awake to this avidya nisha, to this dreamlike state where one keeps on pursuing rainbows, which are difficult to catch, which are impossible to catch. So this is what one is doing. And then iti uchyate yasyam nishayam prasuptaha iva swapnadrishaha. And this is where Adi Shankara, being as clever as he is, he says, no, it's not that they are asleep. They are as though moving around in a dream, sleepwalking as it were. Iti uchyate, even though it says nishayam, we have to see it as dream walkers, dream catchers, sleepwalkers. Yasyam nishayam, sa nisha avidya rupatvat paramartha tattvam pashyato munehe. So this night is day. this night of ignorance, which is characterized by differentiation between object, subject, etc., into which all beings are but asleep, is said to be the state of waking for those beings. Because in that night, it is as though they are seeing the dreams between the catcher and the caught, and it's a little bit complicated. So because you expect the beings to be sleeping, but that night of ignorance is that dreamlike state in which all the beings are awake. They are awake to that nature of ignorance, which to the sage is of no difference, makes no difference at all, which to the sage is Paramartha Tattva. You know that this reality is has the sage has no truck with this reality. The sage is awakened to yet another reality where all that pervades is the sun-like consciousness, and reveling in that sun-like consciousness, seeing everything as an extension of oneself. It's not that the sage does not see see the reality to which the other beings are awake. He or she may see them, he may see them, she may see them, but they don't come under the spell of everything that keeps glittering like that orb of the sunlight processed through the mirror thrown on the wall. They see the divisions. They also see that it is a spoof, and it is sustained by that non-divided, non-dual reality. This is the idea. Ataha karmani avidya avasthayam eva chodyante. Adi Shankara really brings it home. Ataha, therefore, thus, what? Karmani, all actions are pursued. Chodyante, not pursued. What is the word I'm looking for? Enjoined. All actions are prescribed by the Veda, by the Gita, etc., by the teachings. All actions are prescribed for people who are in the state of ignorance, so that by performing actions that are vihita karma means these kinds of prescribed actions that are connected to dharma, that are connected to rightful ways and rightful ways of being, living, etc., then the people can slowly practice waking up. That is the idea. So you can slowly become awakened to that reality by practicing this, by practicing all the things, that actions that are prescribed. First, I move away from actions that are only I want to do, such as I want to pursue this. Why? Because I like this. Oh, but it already belongs to somebody else. I don't care. I like this object, so I'm going to get it somehow. How will you get it? I'll find out the times when they are not at home. I'll find out where they keep it, and I will help myself to it. Simple. And so this is this. But then what does the Veda say? Do not covet other people's things. Ma gridhaha kasyasvid dhanam. So do not covet other people's wealth. Do not covet things that belong to other people. Earn your own livelihood properly through dharmic means. This is an enjoined action which has pertinence only for the person of ignorance, so that the person gradually becomes ready for this knowledge. Vidyayam hi satyam, only in the only when there is self knowledge, udite savitari, when the dawn of self knowledge takes place, when the sun of self knowledge rises, then in that day, in that daybreak, you know what happens? Sharvaram iva tamaf pranasham upagacchati avidya. Sharvaram means the night. Okay, Sharvara, Sharvari, night. Sharvaram, belonging to the night. So Sharvaryaha Udbhavam, Sharvaryaha Bhavam Sharvaram. So Sharvari, night, and then so just like a beautiful word, you know, in Udite Savitari, it's a absolute locative construction. So Vidyayam hi Satyam, when the dawn of knowledge takes place, when the sunlight of knowledge, Savitr means dawn, sun. So when the dawn of knowledge takes place, then the night of tamas, avidya pranasham upagacchati. So, just like the ignorance, which is the darkness of night, disappears at dawn, disappears at daybreak, in the same way, the penchant for being a pursuer of all kinds of things in the empirical world based on one's desires, that also goes away. That also goes away. It does not really stay, because one may pursue or one may be engaged in actions, but it's not actions that are frenetic. It's not actions to complete oneself. It's not actions to gain a sense of validation. It's not action for um, having a sense of accomplishments. It's not action to make one famous. It's not action to stave off any kind of distraction, disturbance, and afflictions. Covering up actions, it's not anything. One may pursue many actions, but it would be for the benefit of everybody. And one may pursue actions even though one knows it's a kind of a play, and one is not caught up in the world of wants, action, results of action. That is what is the very, very kind of a cliched reality out of which the Bhagavad Gita wants us to awaken once and for all. Very beautiful bhashya. More we'll see next week. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Thank you.